Hey, this is Paul from Les Bronx Guitars and welcome to my shop. So I was sitting here tonight sanding on this LB4000 bass, and I thought, you know what, I should be videoing, although it's just a simple thing, I should probably do a video on wet sanding. So what I have here is an LB4000. This is a short scale bass for Eric Pittman. It's also going to be a 24 fret short scale bass. And I've already done the front to 1200, sorry, 1000, went to 1000. And you know, before I decided I would do a video. But I still got the back to do, and I started a little bit on the back. But now I thought maybe you can maybe learn something from me. I don't know, maybe there's nothing you can learn from this, but it's an opportunity to put a little information out there for you if you want it. So what I normally do is, first of all, the key to getting a really nice flat finish, or I should say the key to getting a nice finish, is to spray your clear coat on as flat as glass as you can. And I can pretty much do that. I've got a couple little surface bubbles, but they're going to be gone in a couple swipes. I think I've got some pretty good equipment. I got some decent skills where I can lay down paint pretty good. I've had trouble in the past, but I think I've resolved those issues, and I won't let a guitar go out the door unless it's perfect. So this is the way I am. Anyway, so this LB4000 is getting sanded tonight. I'll be out here for a few hours doing this. I'm going to take my time with it, no rush. And it shouldn't be too hard of a task. And I'm just going to go with 1000 grit sandpaper. It's going to be wet sandpaper. And it should be ready for buffing. I'll come out in the morning, I'll buff it. So what we start out with here, when I talked about finishes, I'm talking about this here, like a really nice finish. I don't know if I can get that in the camera just right, but up here, of course, it's been sanded already, but that's what we want to do. And then we want to get it to, if you see the end of this horn right here, get it to like just a flat appearance. And there's not much I have to do. One thing I do, if I'm going to tell you anything, when I do wet sand, anywhere there's a hole, and you can see that I don't have the volume and the tone control holes made yet. I do that last, and they're marked. You can see if you're right here, but they're marked. I know where they go. There's marks under the clear coat, and I'll drill those later. And there's no worry about drilling later. I use very sharp brad point tip bits, and they make nice clean holes. But anywhere else there's a hole, like for the bridge right here, I got 4 holes to hold the bridge down. There's one here that I use to mount a template, and there's one that is for the ground wire. All of those holes are filled with wax. And the reason why I do that is because I don't want water getting under the finish. I don't want to get into the wood, make the wood saturate, it'll swell, it'll cause problems with your finish. So all those have been filled, and you can see they're fine because I had them waxed. The neck bolt holes, same thing. I put wax down in those, so I won't have any issues. So now I've got a bowl here with some fresh water. I've got my 1000 grit sandpaper, and I just put them in little squares like this, and I use this block. This block it's made out of some kind of plastic, some melamine or something. I think that's what they call it. It's really flat on both sides, and it puts a very thin layer of rubber. It's kind of like a sponge rubber, and I use that in most of the time. Sometimes I use the other end, depends on the situation. I've also got some 1500 in this bowl. So I might go to that later. It's looking really good. I probably won't have to use it, but I keep that wet. Some people leave it overnight to saturate it. I don't. It just needs to be in there for 10-15 minutes, and it gets pliable enough. So And you gotta frequently change out this water because it'll get a slurry from the clear coat that you're taking off. And the reason why I have that water is to flush the paper of that slurry after we're sanding. It cleans it. So all I'll do is I'll work in small areas. So I worked up here already. I started doing around the mount holes for the neck. So I got to do a little bit there, and I'll just work around in circles, moving along, keeping the paper moving. I don't sit in one spot. If there's a nib, I will never dig into it and work it that way. Never dig into anything. If you can't get rid of it, you're stuck with it, basically. That's why you want a nice, smooth glass finish when you spray it. But if you find a nib, just work at it, but work around it too. Just keep the paper moving, keep everything level. You'll get good results that way. And it's not going to take long. This little area, I'm doing a fresh spot over here. I'll even go down to, I don't know if you can see this or not. I think you can. I'll go down to this bottom horn, and I work that a little bit. And you saw what I just showed you earlier with the finish. It's got a little bit of orange peel. It's very slight. The gun I'm using is great. I've got several guns, but I've got a NS Iwata LPH 400 with a 4.0 nozzle tip, I think. It's a great gun, works at really low pressure. It's HVLP. Very little waste. Everything really just goes on the body here in thin layers. And this finish is thin. It's very thin. I do thin finishes. So another reason why you want to make sure that you spray as close to glass of finish as you can, because in my case, because the finish is so thin, I don't want it to burn through. I'm not into going back and reworking stuff. So we're almost there with this little section. I don't want to bore you too much with this video. I'll keep it short because this is all there is to it, really. And I go around like this the whole guitar. As boring as it is, I'll do it. Spend time with this thing. It's funny, you spend time with these guitars, they kind of like become children or something to you. It's weird. You spend a lot of time with them. This rag is saturated already because I've been picking up water with it and slurry, and then I use this one here just to dry it better so I can get a look at it. Periodically look at it. You can hold up to the light and see little imperfections if they're there. You know where to sand and do a little more at. But this is looking pretty good. A little bit on the heel up here. I haven't really paid too much attention to that spot, so I'm going to hit it now. I don't stay there long. I move it around. I watch out for the edges because sometimes paint can build up on edges and you want to kind of attack it. But like I said, if you paint real smooth finishes, you don't have to really worry too much about that. Get a nice flat finish. All right, I think that's going to be it for this video. It's just a short one. Just wanted to show you guys a little bit of something here. If you have any questions, just put them in the comment section. You know, let me know what you're thinking. Good, bad, or indifferent. If you think I'm a knucklehead, the way I do this, say that. I don't care. I'll answer it. I'll answer it. No problem. I got thick skin. I'm good with it. So there's a couple little spots left, but you can see how it's progressing. So you keep moving on all through the rest of the body and the edges. I'll hit these ends here. I got bevels. I get a beveled edge on these guitars in the back, and I'm real careful about that because there's a real crisp edge. There's two crisp edges, so you really don't want to hit it too much. And these edges kind of take care of themselves anyways when you're buffing. So that's about it. Just work your way through the grits. Like I said, I'm doing 1,000 grit. I might go to 1,500, depending how I feel. But I'll be out here a few more hours doing this. The good thing is I've got a companion or two with me, so I'm good to go. All right, so here's the next day, and there it is, freshly buffed out. That's a beautiful guitar. So once again, I did it. I sanded at 1,000 grit on this, and then I went straight to my buffing wheel with the fine compound, and this is what you get out of it. So hey, if you got any questions, just put them in the comment section, and I'll answer them. And as always, like my videos if you would, and click that subscribe button so you can keep up with what's coming up next. And I want to thank you for joining me here at Les Marks Guitars, where custom is what it's all about. See you next time.